Hey everybody, it's Zurika, and today I want to talk to you about how do we really figure out what makes us feel alive and the basics to start our journey on building wealth and abundance. Well, the fact of the matter is that in today's world, both the man and the woman in our families go to work, and this over time can get a bit stressful, especially if one person is more successful in their career as compared to the other. And what happens over time? This can create a few misunderstandings at a deeper level, even though we may not even see it on the surface. And it's so true. There are so many of us who are, waking up in the morning, rushing to work, and sometimes we don't really understand why things are not working out in our relationships, as well as what's going to be there for the future. And the family goal goes completely out of the window, and we start focusing so much on our individual goals and staying up after work and still doing everything possible, thinking that this is going to get us our freedom. And this can create challenges for our own families. Now, before we can dive into figuring out how we can start our journey of building wealth for our family, it's important to recognize that as a family decision needs to be made. And when I talk about decisions, these are things that we do together. These are things of what is our family goal for the future. And to do that, we've got to first make a decision and then start planning how to get there if we want to achieve a completely different result. And this is so crucial, as setting family goals can benefit for the long run, no matter in which area we look at in our own family lives. It could be our finances, it could be our careers, because if we know where we are heading, then we can support each other, and we can also plan how we can spend quality time, not only about just time after work. Now, I'm not really sure if you've heard of Joseph Campbell. Well, he was an American mythologist, and he's an expert who studied heroes and mythology across cultures. Well, he died in 1987, but what he did leave behind is a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And he is an extraordinary guy, because some of the teachings that he talks about, and if you can, please go to some of his YouTube videos. He speaks about spirituality, and at the same time how we can achieve what we really want if we put our mind to it. He's like the grandfather among spiritual teachers, and his work has enabled many families change their lives from working constantly to making a living to following their bliss and making a living that's in abundance. One of his big takeaways in one of his teachings is about following our bliss. And I'll repeat that, following our bliss. Now, what does following our bliss basically mean? Well, it means that we will feel more energetic, we feel more lively, happy. That's what we really want. That's when we really can connect to our source of where we get our power. And if you notice, Abraham Hicks, in the law of attraction, they speak about the same thing, but they refer this as joy. And they base a lot of their work from Joseph Campbell. Now, what I suggest we do is, for the next few days, why don't we just pay attention to what makes us feel more alive, what makes us happy, and just take down notes whenever you feel that happiness. It could be even a small, someone smiling at you and you feel that happiness. Note this down, because when you understand what are the feelings that make you happy, you can actually duplicate that feeling, okay? And you've got to pay attention, because this stuff, even though it might look like mumbo jumbo, it is true. It does not come very easily, because we are so overwhelmed with whatever is happening in our life that we forget to pay attention to what's really making us happy. And to do that, we've got to change the way we try to figure out happiness by taking down notes in our busy lives, whenever we feel that happiness, whenever we feel that life inside of us coming to, to life, when we feel that energy, when we feel like helping, when we feel like reaching out, let's make notes. And it's these small moments that will allow you to learn more about yourself and trusting your intuition more and more. And Joseph Campbell also suggested that another way to find our bliss is to sit in a room and read books that inspire you and tap into feelings that you get when you're reading that book. Now, I'm not talking about reading any kind of a book, because he said don't read the popular stuff like, magazines or technical books to how to be the best project manager or how to be a software architect or learning about Prince2. These are not the books that he talks about. He talks about reading books that are motivational, that are spiritual, that allow us to feel what it means to feel alive. And we live in a world today where we have access to so many books in the form of digital, even hardcover, even audiobooks. Maybe you're driving to work and you can put that audio CD or on your iPod and listen to something inspirational so that you can start feeling what it is that you're actually after. And schedule this in your calendar so it becomes a habit. It's a very, very simple habit. But if we say, all right, for the next 30 days, I'm going to actually listen to either inspirational talks or I'm going to take 15 minutes in a day to read something that makes me feel what I want to feel. Another suggestion that Joseph Campbell talks about in his teachings is that to make a place, that you find peace spending time. Now, this could be either a park, or you could go to the beach, or you could go for a run, or it could be a meditation room. Whatever it is, it's important that we create that space where we don't have to think about anything other than ourselves. It's not about, going into a small office room and thinking about how do I deliver this project or what are the things that I need to plan for my team. That stuff can always come. But what about you? What about where you're heading? What about your family? These are things that only you can figure out if you have that small peace of mind or that little bit of time that you put aside for yourself. So take this time to just connect to your higher self. Another suggestion he spoke about was that what he learned from Ramakrishnan, where he said that we are what we think most of the time. And I'll repeat that. We are what we think most of the time. So he says we need to focus on the things that we have done that are wonderful. So at work, look at what you have accomplished and focus on what's working constantly. Don't beat yourself up when things are not going right. Look at the things that are positive in your life. At home, do the same. Focus on what makes your family amazing. Why is your family amazing? What have you accomplished as a family? And express this to the people who you live with so that they feel that positive energy as well. Initially, it might just be that you're training yourself and people might think it's artificial, but over time, when it becomes a habit, when you build that muscle, you will see a complete difference for your life. He also speaks about loving our faith. No matter what happens, good or bad, we have to believe and have faith that it's happening for a reason. It's happening so we can learn from it. He speaks about saying thank you to everything that comes to us as a blessing. And I know this can really be hard to practice, especially in tough times. But trust me, when you start this kind of mindset, your world will change. He speaks about when we follow our bliss, doors start opening where we may never have imagined. And he calls that the hidden hands, help from the hidden hands. And it's fascinating when you experience this. And I'm sure you have received these blessings somewhere in your own life. Maybe you were lost when you were trying to figure out where to go from point A to point B, and suddenly you see a sign on the road, and you start following your intuition, and you take that left turn or the right turn, and somehow you find your way. Or it could be that you were in a financial crisis, and for some reason something happened and you got another short project to cover you up for that small specific time. So always look at things as lessons that you are preparing yourself for your future. And he also speaks about the hero, who is a person who gives his or her life for something bigger than themselves. He says, when we quit thinking primarily about ourselves and we undergo a completely heroic transformation to actually help someone else, that is transformation of consciousness. So that's what simplification and minimalism can get you. Because once you start going on a path where you want to simplify your life, where you want to live your life for what it is, where you want to experience happiness, if you practice some of his teachings, you will be able to see a complete transformation in your life. Now let's look at how we start moving forward by being responsible financially. And I am no financial guru. I pretty much have started on a path to actually simplify my life and start planning my finances for the future, because I know I'm not going to be just growing younger, but I will be growing older. And if I don't do something now, probably it's my responsibility of why I haven't done it, right? And I'm so fortunate that a friend of mine helps me to plan how to deal with my finances. And here are a few tips that you can implement if you haven't implemented right now. These are just the basic steps, and I got to learn about this by reading a blog called Daily Worth, where they speak about two main things. All right, you can start from scratch right now and completely change your financial future if you decide to make a change in your life. So the first thing they talk about is setting up 2 accounts. Now, the first account is an account with $500. That's the minimum that you have to put into this account when you're starting it. And it is actually a short-term saving. Now, if you do have extra cash, I would recommend that you put it into this account. And this particular account is your emergency funds, okay? Now, what does that mean? That basically means if suddenly, 1 month your tires are blown off from your car, you take it from this particular fund. Or you go to a dentist and you have to do a filling, or you've got to take an x-ray, you take it out from this emergency fund because you didn't plan for this. Now, that's the first account. The second account is like an IRA account. That's in the US, but in New Zealand, we have the KiwiSaver. And I'm sure in your own country, if you're not from New Zealand, you will have something which is like a retirement plan. And I mean, it's not a plan that is going to help you in the future for, to be able to just live off it, but it's actually a start where you are putting some amount aside so that you feel confident that you are planning your financial journey rather than just living paycheck to paycheck. Next, what they recommend is to use your time after work to start something of your own. Now, this doesn't mean that you start a business and you start investing into it and trying to do everything by yourself. No, that's not how they recommend. And even Robert Kiyosaki in his books talks about how most of us are either employees or self-employed, and we keep on switching from one quadrant to the other. But there are a few who have learned the secrets of wealth, and they are actually the large business owners or investors. Now, for us to be able to move into that quadrant where we have a recurring source of income, income, we've got to do things completely differently, right? And the only way we can do things differently is to be able to use a little bit of time that we have after work to try something by collaborating, because today technology is in our favor. Okay, a lot of us shy away from the idea of talking about money, but the fact of the matter is, if we don't have money, that's all we think about. So start something small and create your dream list. Create what you want your future to be 5 years or 10 years from now, because there are many opportunities to start your own family business, to make a cash flow, and the decision is whether you really want to simplify your life, or you just want to do the same things over and over again. It's a complete choice, because once you make a decision, then opportunities will start coming your way. You will start looking from a completely different paradigm, rather than just thinking that it's just a job that is going to get you your financial freedom. So that's what it is for today's audio. I'll just summarize what we have actually discussed. Number one, pay attention to what makes you feel alive every day and make notes. Number two, read books that inspire you and tap into the feelings that you get. Number three, have a place that you find peaceful spending time, and spend some time each day just by yourself, so that you can understand yourself, you can understand your feelings. Number four, we are what we think most of the time. So try and focus on everything that you're grateful for each day. Number five, no matter what happens, either good or bad in your life, we have to believe and have faith that it's happening for a reason. Number six, take responsibility to be more financially intelligent, and start by having 2 accounts. The first is your emergency account with a minimum of at least $500, and open up a retirement account. That's just to get your mindset that you are going to be on a financial plan, that you are planning your finances. And number seven, use your time after work to build a business that gives you a recurring source of income, so that you can take care of your recurring expenses, so that long term you are working on cash flow rather than a paycheck. And I hope these tips have helped you to start your journey to simplify your life for the better. If you feel that this audio could benefit anyone in your network or your friend circle, I would really appreciate if you could share this with your network and friends, because I think it's all about sharing in today's world. So if you can do that, you would help me to be able to achieve my goal, because my aim is to help people to be able to look outside the traditional way that we've been brought up. And if you do get a chance, do visit us on our Facebook account and sign up for my email newsletter, which is all about minimalism, simplifying life, and creating a business and life that empowers you to live life on your terms. And here's to freedom always. And the one thing I want to say is I thank you for taking the time from your life to spend and share these moments with me. And I wish you and your family peace, happiness, health, and wealth. May your life count. And if you do get a chance, pay this forward. Do something that will help someone else, make someone else smile. Thank you so much once again. Love always. And it's Eureka, all the way from New Zealand, signing out. Bye for now. Take care.